I want to start off with a mashal, and then we're going to try and explain in the nimshal. It doesn't really fit exactly, but how the idea from the mashal is very well illustrated. Imagine for a moment that a dear friend of yours calls you and says, me and my wife are terminally ill, and we have a child about to be born. Child's going to be fine. We desperately need someone to raise that child, and we're entrusting you. And so you say, fine, I'm committed. He says, no, you don't understand. I need to know that my child is never going to wind up in a home or in a this or in a that. No matter what happens, you're going to be the one who takes care of my child. You're not going to give him up because it's too hard or this and that. I don't want you backing out of this commitment. I need a commitment from you that no matter what, you're going to be the one who takes care of my child. You say, okay, for you, I would do it, friend. For you, I would do it. Closest friend in the world, I'll do it. Kacha, your friend is nifter, his wife is nifter, and you are left with a newborn child. And it turns out that this child is profoundly mentally disabled. And as he begins to grow, he needs severe amounts of medical care, enormous amounts of money. And people say to you, like, what are you doing? Yes, you made a promise to your friend, but your friend didn't know, and you could not have possibly known that this child is going to destroy your life, take attention from your other children. What are you doing? And so you say, no, you understand. I'm committed. I committed myself. I made a commitment. I'm not, no matter what. I told him, no matter what. He said, but the child doesn't even appreciate what you're doing. This child's mental handicap is so severe, he has absolutely no appreciation of what you're doing for him. So who are you helping? Your friend's not here. He's going to look down from Shemayim and be upset at you? Well, this is like taking over your life. You say, no, it's not about my friend and Shemayim. It's about me. As a Gavra, I gave my word, my nobility, my gentlemanliness. Now, you might agree or not agree with the reasoning, but that's not important. The point is, could you imagine a person would feel that way? I think we could all imagine that it's possible for a person to feel that way. So let's talk for a second about HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the world. We look at the world, we see a world that is very tumultuous. And it's important to realize that over 90% of the world is not living in accordance with Hashem's will. If you're generous and you want to include all the people who are good religious people but aren't serving Hashem, they're following some false religion, so then maybe you have 15? I don't even believe it. I don't believe it. But maybe. But if you go dar ladar ladar, the vast majority of human beings have not been living in accordance with Hashem's will. We know by the time of Avraham Avinu, the Rambam says that the people didn't even know who Hashem was. Besides for like that small handful of select people, Avraham, Shem, Aver, nobody even knew about Hashem. And so you might ask, seemingly the world is a failure. Hashem created a world. The point was for people to have a choice, but obviously Hashem didn't want people to be bad. That would be weird. Hashem wants us to earn reward, right? That's the goal. Hashem's like, I'm going to create a world. People can choose good or bad, and when they choose good, I will give them reward. Seemingly, it's all a giant failure. People are not choosing good and not getting the reward. So, did Hashem fail? The answer is no, of course not. Even though we could not appreciate what it means to be so committed to an idea, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. He was well aware that people might choose bad. And he was so committed to this idea that even when the vast majority of people have chosen bad, they have and continue to do and probably will continue to do so until the end of, until Hashem brings Mashiach or whatever happens. Meaning I don't know what's going to happen after Mashiach is what I meant. They're probably going to continue to do bad. But Hashem said, yeah, I knew that was a possibility. What do you want me to do? You want me to snap my fingers and uncreate the world? What kind of a person would that make me? A person. You know what I mean? That would not be menschlichkeit. I committed myself. My nobility, my midas ha'emes are on the line. I said, I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing. This is the project. I'm going to create a world and give people bechira. That's it. So now they're using the bechira that I gave them? Yeah, okay, that was the point. To have real bechira on a real world where they could really do what they want. It's such a hard thing to fathom. Especially when we look at the world again and we see so many people doing such bad things. It's so hard to fathom. But Hashem said, yeah, I was aware of that possibility, and I committed myself to this project. In that light, I want to revisit this line of Umineach Oisai Biyad Misha Beiteach. These words, again, what we left off with was Hashem never leaves anyone in anything because Hashem's active will is controlling the world. So what does it mean? So I think to understand that, that's why I start off with this mashal. To understand that, we have to understand what exactly it is that Hashem committed himself to. What exactly is it? It's important to understand this Nekudas Habechira because it's going to come up again and again and again. It's not just for this one time. When we get to the alchemist and why he acts the way he does, when we get further and we talk about people and how they relate to Parnasa, over and over and over again, these concepts are going to be so important. So it's worthwhile to clarify it. People have a tremendous misunderstanding of Bechira. People think Bechira, that means that I just get to choose. That's it. It's me. There's really very little in this world that you choose, in any case. Most of the free choices that we make are illusory at best. I'll give you an illustration. It's one that I've heard used before. So imagine for a second that you're in a pizza store. It's busy, it's Friday afternoon, and someone sits down at a table, and he starts to eat a greasy slice of pizza, and he realizes that his fancy Rolex is going to get full of grease. So he takes his Rolex off, he puts it down on the table next to him, finishes his pizza, gets up and leaves. You're sitting at the table next to him and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy just left his Rolex on the pizza table. So you grab the Rolex and you charge outside, and the guy is lost in the crowd already. It's busy street, okay? Cedarhurst, Manhattan, take your pick, whatever. Right? So now you have a challenge. What do you do? What do you do? Well, you had a challenge also before when he left the watch on the table. What do you do? And so you flip the watch over and you realize there's no name, there's no initials, there's nothing. Oh, no, it's a Rolex, right? So you could take out an ad in the newspaper and ask the guy to cover the price. But you could keep it. So here's the thing, though. Did you choose for that guy to walk into the pizza store? You didn't choose that. Did you choose for the guy to take his watch off? You didn't choose that. Let's get deeper. Did you even choose for there to be a pizza store there? You didn't choose that. Somebody else built that pizza store, it wasn't you. Did you choose for that guy to decide to build a pizza store? No. Did you choose to even be there? Of course not. You know why you're there? Because you were born, something you didn't choose, and you were raised in a certain place, which you didn't choose. And based on how you were raised and the life experiences you had, most of which you never chose, you wound up in this pizza store in that exact moment. What exactly did you choose? Did you choose your friends? No. Somebody invite you to Shemayim and be like, okay, tell us about the friends you'd like to have. We'll arrange for them to be born. Of course not. Random people were born out of your control that had nothing to do with you, to situations that had nothing to do with you that you have no control over. You bumped into them. You crossed paths with certain people. Again, you had no control over them. You had no control over where their parents decided to send them to elementary school or high school. You had no control over where your parents, frankly, sent you to elementary school or high school. So you didn't choose your friends. You didn't choose your life. You didn't choose where to live because that was a combination of all those other experiences that you basically didn't have any real choice in. You didn't choose for the pizza store to exist. You didn't choose for the guy to walk into the pizza store. Right? We keep going. So what exactly are you actually choosing when we talk about Bechira? What Bechira? You didn't choose anything. Here's what you did choose. When you flipped over that watch and you saw it had no initials, you realized something. I could give this watch back or I could keep it. That's your choice. That's a choice. That's real. That's real. But does it mean he'll get the watch back if you decide to give it back? Of course not. You could decide, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm going to give this guy's watch back. But really, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted him to lose the watch. So you run after him, and you chase, and you do your shtadlus, and you say, Hashem, no matter what, I'm doing this mitzvah. and you see him crossing the street, and you know you're going to lose him, so you dodge in the middle of the street. There's cars honking at you, the place is going crazy, and you reach him, and you say, "Excuse me, sir, you left your Rolex." And the restaurant, the guy goes, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I almost lost my Rolex." And so he takes the Rolex from you, and he puts it on his wrist, and he smiles, and he turns around, and he trips, and the Rolex pops off and falls down a sewer grate, and he never sees it again. Is that impossible? You say, "Oh, well, that's unlikely." It's unlikely. But if Hashem wanted him to lose the Rolex, he'll lose the Rolex. And if Hashem wants you to have a Rolex, so you'll start chasing him into the street when a bus is going to cut in front of you, and you're going to scream and see your life flash before your eyes. And then when the bus is gone, the guy is gone. And so you take out an advertisement in a newspaper, and you go hang up signs at the pizza store, and you call the store owner for months, until you go to a Rav one day, and the Rav says, "Well, there's no siman. It was in a public place," and he looks up the relevant halachos, and he says, "I'll be honest with you, 100% clear in halacha, you can keep the watch. Whatever, make up a situation that fits that halacha." So you chose to give back the watch, though, right? In Shemayim, they're going to show you on the video, you did a shtadlus, you worked your head off. You have a mitzvah of Hashavas Aveda that you did. You didn't do it, but you chose to do it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world, down to the tiniest Nekuda. But in here, or wherever it really is, not in the physical world, but in here, that's you. In here, that's you. That's it. The limitations of your Bechira, they end outside of your heart and outside of your head. But in there, that's all you. And we have to keep that in mind. I'm going to end here because I don't want these to go long. But bear in mind this truth. And I want to wrap it up with one thing I saw, beautiful, very, very beautiful mashal. And it's short, that I saw in the Sefer Nekudas Habechira brought down. That there is a, I think it was in the Sefer Nekudas Habechira. I should have looked it up before. If not, I'm going to look it up as Hashem and make sure it's there. But this mashal of a person who goes to a store, I forget which type, a grocery store, right? And you walk into the store and you buy an apple. And the difference between how the Baal Bitachon views this transaction and the not Baal Bitachon. Person who's not a Baal Bitachon thinks this is the most ordinary transaction that ever happened. I walk into a store. There's a clerk there. I have money in my pocket. There's a stand filled with apples. So I walk in. I walk up to the apple stand. I pick up an apple. There's nothing. I didn't feel Hashem in every movement that I was making. He said the Baal Bitachon knows that every single thing that happened was Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu allowed him to walk into the store. Hashem caused there to be fresh apples. Who said there should be fresh apples there? Who made apples grow? Who made apples? How was Hashem? Hashem caused the truck driver to put the apples on a truck. Hashem caused that truck to arrive in the store safely. Hashem caused the apples to be moved from the truck to that stand. Hashem caused this person to be able to pick up the apple. Hashem caused him to have money in his pocket. Where did that money come from? Didn't come from anywhere except HaKadosh Baruch Hu. From the Gzeira that he got on Rosh Hashanah. Hashem caused the clerk to be willing to... Every single thing is Hashem. And the difference between seeing reality one way and seeing reality another is going to be critical to understand. That's not the answer, but it's going to be critical to understanding the answer to this question of which Be'ezer Hashem we will answer tomorrow. But in the interests of brevity, I will be making more of these videos, but keeping them shorter. So have a wonderful day.